So in the last class, we were discussing about the plagiarism, and there are misconducts related with our research, and which comes under the ethics. So last time we had discussed about fabrications, falsifications, and plagiarism. So today we are going to discuss plagiarism. We have already discussed that plagiarism is just taking the ideas or thoughts of other scholars in our own name. So this has become one of the misconduct among the research professions. So now there are so many software which are testing the that how many portions of the research have been taken from any book or any research thesis. So these are some of the things. Let us discuss that. What is a plagiarism? So it has been taken from the, if you go through the website of the plagiarism.com, www, so you will find a lot of things related with plagiarism. It has been defined as that turning in someone else's work as your own. This is without quoting the author's name. If you are writing in your and it shows that it is your statement, then it comes under the purview of plagiarism. So copying words or ideas from someone else without giving credit, not putting in inverted comma, single inverted comma, or double inverted comma. We have already seen that there are more than 25 words which comes under the double inverted comma, and if they are less than 25 words from any text or any passage which you are quoting, it will come under the single inverted comma. Again, giving incorrect information about the source of quotations. If you are not giving the exact source of information that from where you are citing this reference, this is also coming under the plagiarism. Again, changing words but copying the sentence structure of a source without giving credit. In a sentence, you are just changing the words, but the structure of the sentence, the grammatically, you are just putting in that order. It also comes plagiarism. So nowadays, people are also changing the style of the writing. That ideas they are taking from any book or any journals or any passage, and they are writing in their own words. So, but it comes that you are changing two, three words, but the structure of the sentence remains the same. It also comes under the plagiarism. Copying so many words or ideas from a source that it makes up the majority of your work, whether you give credit or not. So you are taking so many words or the technical terms or ideas or the thoughts from any source, and it shows that it belongs to your work. So you are not giving any reference or any citations. It comes under the purview of plagiarism. So this is the website. If you go through the www.plagiarism.org, it gives the detailed information related with the plagiarism. Now, what are the punishments which are being given by the institutions or universities or any other things? There are a lot of plagiarism books. If you are being, there are so many books which are published from taking original from the authors, and they are putting their own names, and these books are banned also. But in the coming to the university or academic institutions, your registrations may be cancelled or your thesis may be rejected. You are being expelled from the university also if your research papers come under the purview of plagiarism. There are a lot of punishments related with this. There are legal punishments also. If any author goes to the legal court or Supreme Court or High Court related with that someone has taken my ideas or the thoughts and he has published in his own name, it comes under there is a heavy punishments or penalty for that also. And some of the cases have come that those who are coming under the purview of religion, they are sent to the jails or in prison also. There are institutional punishments blocking the promotion or dismissal. If any teacher who is the assistant professor and he uses plagiarism, he is making copying paste, it may be punished that he may lose the teaching post, he may be expelled, and there are if the certificates are being issued by the previous employer, then the next employer cannot take employment to that persons also. So this nowadays in the when a research scholar is going to submit his thesis, there is a software Urkund and Scriber and others. They are testing the whole chapters of the thesis that from where these portions has been taken, and from 3% to 9% or 7%, they are considered okay. Otherwise, the candidate or research scholar is supposed to revise all these terms from where and it also shows that from which portions, from which book or the journals you have quoted all these lines also. They are telling about these. So nowadays, every university is also asking the candidate to take the plagiarism test from any software and submit it before the submission of your thesis also. So these are some of the things, and anyhow, this plagiarism comes under the very unethical, you can say, or it is not promoted in any way. It cannot be appreciated by anyone that one who has taken the ideas or anything from anywhere. So there are so many cases also. Now, what we can do? So plagiarism versus paraphrasing. So what a research scholar is supposed to do, avoiding all these copying paste or the things from where he is taking. Even the term Buddha, if a research scholar quotes, then it also comes under the that so many in the thesis, more than 100 times if the word Buddha comes, then it also comes per view of that it has been copied. So how we research a scholar can avoid all these things? So you might plagiarize by changing the original too much or sometimes not enough also. So you can change the whole structure of the sentence and you can make in your own language. It is advisable to the research scholars that you do not write the same sentence what it is written there. You understand the things, but you can write in your own words. That is the most advisable. Retain the essential ideas of the original, but significantly change the style and grammatical structure to fit in the context of the argument. You have to practice it. That how you are changing the grammatical structure of the sentences from the original source and how you are writing in your own words. Sometimes the passages taken from the suttas available in Pali Tripitaka or Sanskrit Bapul Sutras, they are also coming in purview of our pluralism. Because nowadays, these whole suttas of the Tripitaka, Suttapitaka, Vinay Pitaka, or Abhidhamma Pitaka, they are also available on internet. So it also comes under the purview of that. So nowadays, some of the research scholars, what they are doing, that before the submission of the thesis, they are not giving the long passages in their own thesis. They just give the abbreviated form of the text and they put the page number also. So that is the way of avoiding the same thing. Because whenever you are quoting from the Sanskrit text also, like Lalit Vistar or Samadhi Raj Sutra or Madhyam Karika, they are also available on internet. Sometimes it comes under. But the text which are in Devanagari, there are so many fonts of the Devanagari. So sometimes the software of the plagiarism do not catch the words available in the Devanagari. So those who are writing in Devanagari or Hindi or another language, Nepali, sometimes they are not coming the purview of plagiarism. So, but when you are writing in English, it is better to change the structure of the whole ideas or the thoughts from the original source. Then you have to write it. Again, someone has published the research papers in any journal. He also quotes the same passage in his own thesis. That also must be referred, that it has been published. But some of the research papers have not been published. It may be quoted that it is likely to be published and it has been accepted for the publications in journals such as you can give the, if you have acceptance letter from the editor of the journal. So those which are already given, even the theses which are submitted in another university, people try to copy all those things from the other universities and they put to their in their own thesis. But it also comes in under the purview of because whenever the other universities gives the whole thesis on the website Urkund or the software, it also comes there. And it shows that this portion has been taken from the thesis which has been submitted by a research scholar in the department of such and such of the university, such and such. So try to avoid of all these things. In any case, cite the corresponding reference completely. So it is even you are changing the structure of the sentences, try to give it that this idea has been taken from such and such a book. Do not overlook by a research scholar. Never cite a work unless you have read it, cite it completely and correctly. It has been observed that research scholars gives the name of the books and the journals at the end of the research paper in the bibliography. And some of the books, they have not seen it, they have not verified it, they have not gone through it. But for the sake of references or bibliography, they put the names of the books and the journals in the research paper also and in the thesis also. The examiners are very clever. you cannot make full to the examiners also. And even there are some of the mistakes in writing of the bibliography. They will check it themselves and you will be in trouble also. So until unless you do not go through the book or journals by your own eyes, you cannot put those books or the names of the journals in your research paper or in your thesis also. It is most advisable that even the references, sometimes a person takes from the journal and the books also, and he put the same references in the his thesis also in his research paper without going through the original source of the book. If the previous author has given the wrong reference, he has also not gone through the original source and he has put the references in the wrong manner. The researcher in the present time, he will also give the wrong references. And it has been seen that in some of the book, there are wrong informations related with the references also. So try to avoid it. If you get the references, page number, and the edition of the book, try to go through the original books. You try to get it from the library or through the internet. If you the PDF of the book are available, you can verify that on the same page, this passage is available or not. If you check it that it is okay, then you can give the references. So it is advisable that until unless you do not see the references through your own eyes, you do not quote it. It takes time. Whenever you are getting the references from the book or the journals from any book, try to verify it. Try to check it by your own eyes. Again, statements, figures, and tables reproduced in report, presentations, and paper require proper citations. If you are taking from any book, the statements, the figures, and the tables also. If you are making yourself the table or any illustrations which you have taken, you must give the references that from where you have taken this table or the figure or the image or the photograph also. If you have taken by the photographs by your own camera, you can put that this photograph has been taken by myself, dated such and such. You can put all these things in detailed manner. But if you have taken figures from some sources, you just give the references that from where you have obtained this image or the figures or the statement. There are copyrights, even if you are going to submit your thesis. The research scholars also makes a declaration that I have not taken anything from anywhere. And this research is under the copyright of the author or the research scholar, which by whom this thesis is going to be submitted. This is the copyright of that or any university which submitted any thesis of the research scholar. These are the copyrights of the university and the departments and the research scholars also. Without the permission of the author and the university, one cannot publish it in any form. Even a research scholar who wishes to publish his own thesis, he has to seek permission from the controller of examinations or the registrar that kindly give me the permissions to publish it. Then examiner, a controller of examinations gives the permissions. There are some rules and regulations. And before the publications of the thesis, the views of the examiners are also being shared to the research scholars. What are the suggestions? What are the modifications which have been suggested by the examiners at the time of the evaluation of the thesis? It is also given to the research scholar, so that before the publication of the thesis, all these modified forms can be incorporated there. So this is the, you can say, thing, and even the books and the journals. Even the editor also declares that the research papers are being written by the uh, uh, authors, and they are responsible for any statement also. Because if something comes, then the author of that research paper is liable to be give answers of all these things. Even the books, if you see in the third page, you will find that there are copyrights of the author also. It means that without the permission of any the author, you cannot take ideas or the statement or anything. That is why it comes under the plagiarism. Again, record keeping. Even if you submit your thesis after the award of the PhD or any degree, the research theses are also kept in a record also. Even after 100 years or they are available in the libraries also. They are kept in record at any time. Nowadays, if there is a facility of making PDF of all these things, so digital forms of the theses are also available in universities, the previous. So nowadays it has, so for your data which are available, you can access it from anywhere. The library, there is a software which are, there are so many software. Even university grants commissions also have some of the software for keeping record of all the theses which are being submitted by the universities of India also. And even in outside India, in other European countries, they are also keeping records. Anyone can access the thesis, as well as books are also available, and the journals are also available. Not the present, but the previous issues of the journals are also available on internet. There are some of the precautions for the joint authors also. If any research paper is being published or the book is being published by author in collaboration with some of the organizations or in any person, what are the things? So here, let the agreement be in place for division of work and responsibility. If a joint collaboration for any research is being done, then there must be division of the work, that what a person has to do, how many portions can be written by a person. If there are six chapters, three chapters will be given to one person, and if there are three persons, the division of the work can be divided also. Access right to data and field notes also. Whatever the data which are you collecting and the field is notes after the field survey, they have their own rights. You have to give the references of that also. Then professional liabilities, that there are some of the ethics related with the professional bodies like universities, institutions, and other types. Co-authorship in publications, even there are two, three authors of the book, their names are being given as authors. authoring sequence, if who will be the main author and who will be the second or third, this is also being decided by the joint collaborations when they are going to publish all these things. Corresponding authors are, if there are two, three persons who will make correspondence with all the persons, or if there is a need of the field survey, who will take the responsibility of making correspondence with other participants or the bodies. So there are some of the things which can be avoided by researcher who is writing research paper or research thesis also. So if a person who has prepared any research paper, he cannot submit the same paper to three research journals also. So this is the submitting the same paper to different journals without informing the editors. You are not informing the previous one, and you are giving the same paper to the another research paper. And your paper is being published by these two journals also. It is also coming under the plagiarism. It should be avoided. Publishing the same paper in two different journals without informing the editor. It is also coming under the ethics purview. Don't give your same paper to different journals also. It creates problem also, and even the first one will charge you that why, without taking permission from my, you have published the same paper in another journal. It decreases the credit of the journal also. Filing a patent without informing a collaborator in order to make sure that you are the sole inventor. If there is a need of the patent of any thought or ideas or anything, you are, and if it has been prepared in the collaboration of other persons also, it must be given. And if you are giving yourself as a sole inventor, then it also comes under the plagiarism, or it comes under the ethics purview. Including a colleague as an author in return for a favor, even though no serious contributions was made by him or her. It has been seen that for favoring any persons or taking favor from any persons, a person who is writing a book gives the name of that person, that he can take help from that person. It is also, it must be avoided. It should not be given. Even the research papers also, in the science subject, it has been seen that in the laboratory there are more than 8 to 10 research scholars under a supervisor, and all the research papers are being published, and the name of the supervisors are also given. Since the laboratory of that supervisor is being used for the research outcome or the research result. So for the science subject, it is okay. But here in the arts and humanities, it has not been seen that the name of the supervisor or the teacher is being given for the publication of any research paper. So even if your colleague, to satisfy him, you are giving his name, it should be avoided. Again, not reporting any adverse event that might have happened during research experiment. If you are making any field survey or any questionnaire method or sampling method, if you have mm, got any unwanted scene or any mishappenings, you are not reporting that adverse event. It must be reported. Trimming out liars from a data set without discussing the regions. If you are thinking that some of the data which are not coming in your objectives of your research, you are just cutting it without having discussed with others. So this is also under the ethics, and a researcher must avoid it. Failing to keep research records in proper and truthful manner. Sometimes you get the materials and you are not putting in record. You have got some of the interviews, but they are not kept in a proper manner. And when you need it for publications, these are not available at that time. So it should be avoided. Not maintaining research data for a reasonable period of time. So if you have taken interview or sampling method or questionnaire method, and you have got the matter, but you are not making it public, no, you are not submitting your thesis within 3 years, so it should be avoided. It is recommended that after getting the fruits from any survey method or any research method, you must get it published from any journal or from any book. You can get it so that people come to know that this research has been done. Using an inappropriate aesthetical technique in order to enhance the significance of the research. Sometimes some aesthetical data or some techniques or the tools which are being used in the sense that your objectives are being achieved in your with the hypothesis which you have already made, it will come true. In the same manner, you are also using the same technique or the research tool also. But there are some of the research technique or the methods through which the results may differ. So it should be avoided. You can use all the methods and then you can think over it. You can change your hypothesis also. If it is not coming or it is not being tested, if it does not come true, then you can change of the things. But for your convenience, you are taking the technique which are suitable for your hypothesis and objectives of your research. This, it may be avoided. Again, conducting a review of the literature that fails to acknowledge the contributions of other people in the field or relevant prior work. Even the list, we have discussed that in the literature review also, if you are writing, and some of the books which you think that they are not suitable for your hypothesis or research objectives, you are not reviewing of those books or the journal because it will not going to suit your things. But if you review it, and your review must be critical also without having any distinction of that to whom this whether this review will create some problem to the original author or not. If it is not coming to your purview, even though you go through it and you can write it in your research paper or in research thesis also. And you can acknowledge this in your research paper as well as in your research thesis also. Even people are acknowledging the help which have been taken from any persons in the research thesis also. And if a research paper is being published, he, the sometimes author also acknowledge at the end of the research paper that I have taken help in any way in correcting the grammars of the language or in the constructions or structure of the thesis also. Even in the research papers, some of the persons gives the name of the persons that who have given help in preparation of the research paper. Announcing the result at a press conference without going through a peer review process. There are, before going to the press conference, any innovation of the result or ideas or the thoughts, it must be reviewed by other processes also. There are processes for the even the science subjects also, or engineering or medicals. There are so many processes before making it public also. You might have seen during the COVID period, there were so many antibodies which were prepared, whether it is Covishield or others. They were gone through a process of reviewing that whether this medicine is going to be suitable. Whenever the medicines comes, it comes under the purview of all the processes. Overstating the benefits in order to convince a reviewer that the research will make a significant contributions to the field. Sometimes persons are reviewing the papers or the books, they are giving appreciation or with very good words they are appreciating to make that this research has been prepared with a significant contributions it has given. So you should not give until unless it has not been so much up to the mark of satisfactions. Now, how the real factors there are impact factors of the research papers also. When you publish the book or research papers, nowadays there are some of the impact factors of the research papers. It is being seen that how many persons have gone through your research papers, as well as how many persons have quoted your research paper in the thesis or the books also. Based upon that, impact factors is being prepared. So this is the impact factor, how the persons are taking it, that how many times your work is being cited. Citations that actually trace your work. It means that what you have done, your work, it proves that how it is related, the significant work, the research which you have done, how much it is significant. How many times you cited yourself, nice try. Even you are quoting some of the things, how many times you have also quoted the same things. How many times you were cited just to pad the introduction sections. In the introduction sections, people are writing about this research that some of the scholars have done work on this very topic. So how many persons have quoted your name? Then how many citations the end editor pressures the author to increase the journal's impact factors. Sometimes it is seen that editors are also asking the author of the research paper to quote this from your article or your research paper may be mm, quoted by the research scholars or any other person so that impact factor of the journal can be also taken care of. So this is the original articles you have written plus original articles you were included in out of pity or politics, then not so original articles you have copied and pasted. This all these are coming. So there are some of the, if you go through the www PhD comics, then you'll find that how these are being done. So there are, lastly, we are coming to the how ethics can be reviewed in the field of, in the purview of the research also. How a researcher may avoid making derogatory comments and personal attacks in the review of author submissions. If author submits the research papers for the publications, and if it is reviewed by the research expert in that field also, he should not give any derogatory comments. There are some of the ethics that one should not write in a very attacking manner to the author that he has written something which are not very satisfactory. So one should not give the personal attacks, and there are some ethical norms that how the review can be done. Review may be critical, but there should not be any derogatory remarks to the author personally or attack any persons. Rejecting a manuscript for publications without even reading it. It has been seen that some of the persons who are submitting their books or the research papers, even without going through the content of the research paper, they reject the manuscript. So that is also avoided. Sabotaging someone's work. There are some of the well-known authors who are not promoting the juniors one. It has been seen there are so many competitions in the publications field for the publications of the materials in all the languages, whether not it is Hindi, English, or Nepali, or Tamil, or Telugu, Kannada. In all the languages, it has been seen that those who have got, and even there are so many agencies of the government like Sahitya Academy, they are having some norms of selecting all these things. So those who have become popular, they are sabotaging the works of the youngers. So this may be avoided. It also comes ethics also. Discussing with your colleagues confidential data from a paper that you are reviewing for a journal. If someone submits the research paper for the reviewing, and the research experts share the ideas or the thoughts of the authors to another one, his colleague or any persons, that may include that idea in his own paper or other things before the publications of the this paper. Even it has been seen that some of the research papers are not being published before the taking the ideas of the that research paper, and it is being published by another one. So sometimes it has been seen. So this may be avoided. Again, there are some ethics related with making supervision or the guidance, giving those who are the supervisors, those who are supervising for the PhD. There are some norms also that you should not give the same research project to two research scholars in order to see who can do it the fastest. So it has been seen that for the sake of himself, a supervisor seeks that which research scholar is most suitable for giving the results as soon as he can. So it should be avoided by the supervisor also. Even authorship in every paper, we have seen that in the case of the science subject, it has been seen, but not in the case of the arts and humanities. But even in the arts and humanities, some of the supervisors are seeking their own names when a research scholar is going to publish his own research paper. It must be avoided, even if no substantial contributions is being made. Overworking or neglecting doctoral and other students. If a research supervisor takes research scholars more than 6 or 7 or 8, and he is overburdened with his teaching and his own research work, and he is not paying his attention to the research scholars, it must be avoided. It affects the intelligence of the younger generations, and they are being dissatisfied with the performance of their research. So it must be avoided. Following the outdated practices, there are so many research techniques or the tools through which the researchers are enhancing their research, but the supervisor not taking those tools and the techniques which are available in the modern time, and the same research pattern or the research methodology which are traditional, they are being followed by a supervisor. A supervisor must be updated with all the current journals or the books in the field which he is going to supervise the candidates. Learning to students for favors. Whenever a person gives this supervision to any research scholars, and he is also seeking favors for that also in any form, it must be avoided. It has been seen that how researchers are being exploited by the research supervisors. There are so many forms, there are so many cases which are coming out. It must be avoided. So, what are the things? Action may be legal but unethical. As for example, giving information about data disclosure in very fine print or a form which can escape the attentions of the reader. So sometimes these are the unethical practices, and these are coming under the purview of the legal punishments. So sometimes there are dilemmas what should be done if a person makes the disclosure of the any data in any print form or a form. So it's the readers are very clever now, so it can be action may be legal but ethical also. As for example, a book banned in a country could be used for academic research purpose if the subject matter of research makes it absolutely essential. So it has been seen that in one of the country the book has been banned, but in other country the practices are available. We have seen that there is a text Milind Atkatha, which was composed by a Burmese monk in the 19th century. And in that book, he has discussed about that woman cannot be admitted to the Sangha, and women are not allowed to remain in the Sangha. And he has discussed that how women are not allowed in the Sangha. And he has discouraged the Bhikkhuni order, and it was criticized in that country also. That monk was criticized a lot, and this book was banned in Myanmar in the last century, in the first part of the last century. But anyhow, this manuscript was obtained by Indian authors and M.S. Deshpande, and he went to Japan and he edited that book and he got it printed in Roman editions. It was published by Japanese Academy. So it has been seen, and it is comes under the ethics, but that someone book has been banned by any government, and that book has been taken as a work of research by another researcher of the any country also. So this is that actions are illegal, but it comes under the ethical purview. So this is the interpreting such actions need careful attentions also. In India also, there are so many historical coverings. Some of the researchers are not made it public, whether it is related with the Ayodhya temple, Mathura temple, or Kashi temple, whatever the. Sometimes research are not, the Archaeological Survey of India makes research on these subjects, but it does not become public. But anyhow, when these temples are being made, after that, the researches are being done that what was the main, you can say, findings of that. Even in Ajodhya case, nowadays, at that time when Archaeological Survey of India was making survey of Ajodhya temple, that what is the status of the Ajodhya temple, Ram Janmabhoomi, it was found that where this temple is situated, the inner portion or ins, the inner layer of that temple has all the substantial evidences of our monasteries, Buddhist temple. So now it is becoming that how a Buddhist monastery was converted into Hindu temple also. So these are, you can say, at that time it was illegal, but now the researches are being done, which is ethical in that sense also. Again, some participants may not want to have their own identity remain confidential. Sometimes it is said that the sponsor and other things and the participants, they do not like their own names in the research. They must be avoided. One should not give the names of that. They must be warned about the possible harm that could cause to them on reporting and may infringe on the rights of other participants. Sometimes participants are fearing that action may be taken by other persons against him. Equipoise, no agreement on which of the competing treatments provide more benefit. As for example, when two interventions are compared to each other's. So this is that if there is no agreement on which the competing treatments provide more benefit, sometimes there is a dilemma related with that. Absence of proven ethical behavior norms for conducting cyber research. It has been seen that in the cyber cafe, the research which is being done, they are not proved in, and until unless if you do not get it verified from the original sources, you cannot make it prove. So there there are some of the dilemmas that if the books are not available and how they can be verified this. So how it can be resolved by a researcher that he may think that what is the problem of the issue of related with the research, what is the relevant informations, how the research materials which are significant in what manner, what are the different options. If I do not continue this research, what are the other course research topics under which I may continue my research. What do ethical codes or the policies as well as legal rules apply to these different options? So it must be taken that what are the ethical policies as well as legal rules apply to these different options. You have to think over it. We have seen that ethics is applicable at each and every step from the beginning of research problem literature review till the end of the submission. So we have to see that what are the other options also. Are these any people who can offer ethical advice? You have to take suggestions from your supervisor or other colleagues that what are the other things related with ethics. Sometimes the dilemma related with the ethics can be also resolved. And if you get the questions, answers in that way, that which choice could stand up to further publicity and scrutiny. That what is the other choice you can take if it is not, if you have any dilemma, either one or either this or that, what you have to take for the publicity or for the scrutiny. Which choice could you not live with? You have to decide that which choice you have to take. Think of the wisest person you know. You have to think over it that who can make good suggestions related with your dilemmas on this any topic. What would he or she do in these situations? Which choice would be the most just, fair, or responsible? You have to think over it that what choice, which choice will probably have the best overall consequences. You have to see the consequences that if you take any choice, this or that, what will be the result of that, how this is, what will be the fruit of that. So there are some of the ethics related with the academics to treat the students fairly and not exploiting them. Even research scholar, research supervisors are sometimes exploiting the researchers or the students. It must be avoided. It comes under the unethics or ethical purview also. Demanding favors in any form. There are some of the teachers who are demanding the things, whether they are asking to write research paper in the name of the teacher or the supervisor. Sometimes it has been seen, and in other form also they are seeking for. It is also not advisable to take credit only for your contributions, avoiding gift authorship as well as ghost authorship. If researcher is publishing his research paper, you should not ask to include his name or. So this is called as a ghost authorship or gift authorship. It comes under the unethics. To follow professional ethics while reviewing the works submitted by others. So one should follow the what are the professional ethics while reviewing the works submitted by researchers for the review. Honesty in peer reviewing. It is that a reviewer must be honest in reviewing to resist asking grants for the already completed works. So sometimes it has been said that the research work has been completed, and after completed the research, one applies for the grant for the research. So this also uh, be avoided. So there are 10 commandments. Lastly, we are coming related with the computer ethics that one should not use a computer to harm other people. There are so many crimes which are being done by computers. So one should not use a computer to harm other people. One should not interfere with other people's. Yes, I am going to complete it within 2-3 minutes. That thou shalt not snoop around in other people's computer files. Sometimes it is in that computer is open, a person is just viewing that what are the files which are kept in the desk computers, and they try to steal those things. So it should be avoided that one should not use a computer to steal some of the things. One should not use a computer to bear false witness. One should not copy or use proprietary software for which you have not paid. So sometimes softwares are being copied from any computer for the work of that, and you have not paid. One should not use other people's computer resources without authorizations or proper compensation. All these are coming under the ethics purview. It should be avoided. You should not appropriate other people's intellectual output. Some of the research papers which are kept in the computer files, one should not steal it, one should not take it in their own name. One should think about the social consequences of the program you are writing or the systems we are designing. One should always use a computer in ways that ensure considerations and respect for your fellow. Next class, we will discuss the remaining portions also, and related with this plagiarism, we can discuss some of the things, and we'll nice day and meet you in the next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.